The Beast of Bray Road is a hairy humanoid with canine features that was sighted near 2 towns in Wisconsin, mainly during the 1990s. It was labelled a werewolf in local folklore. Most cryptozoologists have decided to label it a Bigfoot, in order to avoid dealing with the scientific absurdities involved with werewolves. However, some people think that it's a cryptid canine instead. Some researchers considered the Beast of Bray Road to be identical to a kind of Wisconsin Bigfoot, named the Bluff Monster or the Eddie. The Beast of Bray Road counts as the most famous of modern American werewolves. It's been in the media regularly since the first sightings were publicised, and even had a low-budget movie based on its legend. Because of the numerous witnesses who have claimed to see this creature, the evidence supporting the beast is far greater than the evidence supporting almost any other werewolf legend. First of all, there are those that try to hold up something far more normal than the creature as is described by most witnesses. Some say that all the fuss must be based around an escaped wolf, a large feral dog, a bear, or some other creature that is known to exist. The Beast of Dean is reportedly a cryptid said to resemble a wild boar. It's commonly sighted in Gloucestershire in the southwest of the United Kingdom. The Royal Forest of Dean became a hotspot for sightings beginning in 1802, with reports from locals of a very large boar, with occasional reports of damaged trees, crushed hedges and fences, and a supposed unearthly roar. Eventually, local hunters from the village of Parkend managed to capture the creature. The hunters, upon examination, all agreed their prey was no boar they had encountered before, nor even any familiar indigenous species. After this revelation in March 1807, sightings stopped entirely for almost 2 centuries. Over this period, locals frequently heard a low grunt noise in the woods between Parkend and the nearby village of Bream. Speculation had been made between locals to whether there was another beast roaming the woodland of the Forest of Dean. This would not be apparent until 1998, in which a report had been made by 2 locals that had been passing through the woodland between Parkend and Bream. They had claimed the wood seemed eerily quiet. Suddenly, a low noise could be heard slowly raising in intensity. Then a sound of rustling leaves was heard and the 2 saw a large beast come towards them in the darkness. At this time, the men could not comprehend the size of the animal. They then ran frantically from the beast towards the village of Parkend as it pursued them through the woodland. The men then emerged onto a well-lit road near the centre of the village. As they came to a halt, they heard an unearthly roar from the woods behind them. The men were both mortified as they could not comprehend what had just happened. The Bunyip is a creature of Aboriginal mythology. It lives in the swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds and waterholes of Australia. The Bunyip has many descriptions. Some say it has a dog-like face, dark fur, a horse-like tail, flippers and a duck-like bill. Others think the creature has an appearance similar to a snake with a man and a beard. Some even think the Bunyip is actually a prehistoric marsupial. This creature is described to eat livestock in several Aboriginal bedtime stories, if they come close enough to the water's edge. One of the first recorded accounts of the Bunyip took place in 1818, when James Meehan and explorer Hamilton Hume both found enormous bones in Lake Bathurst, located in southwest Wales of Australia. They described a creature similar to a manatee or a hippopotamus. In the mid-1830s, George Rankin discovered fossil bones in the Wellington Caves located in New South Wales of Australia, later to be followed by explorer Thomas Mitchell. In 1847, a strange skull was found near Boreald in New South Wales. It was later put on exhibition at the Australian Museum in Sydney. The skull was later proven to be only the cranium of a disfigured horse or calf. It's hard to tell what the Bunyip looks like because of its claims of variations, but all sightings agree that it's definitely an aquatic mammal. Black stickmen are a relatively recent phenomenon. People across the globe have been sighting these 2-dimensional pitch-black beings. They appear to be 2-dimensional, and their appearance always looks the same no matter what angle they're seen at. Their heights range from that of a normal human being to an abnormal several feet tall. They reportedly make no sound and cast no shadow. Witnesses also claim these figures are often charged with some sort of electricity. the most often being reported static electricity. Witnesses often claim that while encountering these beings, they feel a strange urge of aggression. It could be said that these beings exert some form of negative energy. They are unlike ghosts in that they are not linked with any particular paranormal incident or location. They simply appear, and they have been appearing more and more recently for people. Although they could be related in some way, these are not to be confused with shadow people. There is yet to be a recorded case of a black stickman to attack a person, and they have yet to communicate in any way, not even making a sound. The Yukon Beaver Eater is a relatively unknown cryptid. It's described as bigger than the biggest grizzly bear, and got its name from its diet. It's caught beavers by flipping up their lodges and seizing the exposed beavers. When shown a book of prehistoric animals, natives chose a giant ground sloth as the closest lookalike to the beaver eater. Dawn Charlie, a Canadian First Nation member, contacted the British Columbia Scientific Cryptozoology Club and said the following. The latest report was from Violet Johnny, my husband's sister, who was fishing with her husband and mother at the head of Touchon Lake 4 or 5 years ago. An animal came out of the woods 8 or 9 feet high, bigger than a grizzly bear. It started coming towards them. They panicked, fired a few shots over its head and finally managed to get the motor going and took off. There are other reports. There's also reports that a man shot one in a small lake in that area. Beaver eaters are said to live in the mountain areas east of Frenchman Lake. Champ is the name given to a reputed lake monster living in Lake Champlain. The lake is a natural freshwater lake in North America, and is partially situated across the US-Canada border in the Canadian province of Quebec, and across the Vermont-New York border. While there is no scientific evidence for the cryptid's existence, there have been over 300 reported sightings. The legend of the monster is considered a draw for tourism in the Burlington, Vermont and New York areas. Like the Loch Ness Monster, most regard Champ as a legend. Others have speculated that it's possible such a creature does live deep in the lake, and is possibly a relative of the plesiosaur, an extinct group of aquatic reptiles. Lake Champlain is a 125-mile long body of fresh water that is shared by New York and Vermont and just a few miles into Quebec, Canada. The Champ legend has become a revenue-generating attraction. For example, the village of Port Henry, New York has erected a giant model of Champ, and holds Champ Day on the first Saturday of every August. Champ reportedly can be seen in a video taken by a fisherman. The video was taken in 2005. Close examination of the images may be interpreted either as a head and a neck of a plesiosaur-like animal, and even an open mouth in one frame, and a closed mouth in another. 2 retired FBI forensic image analysts, who reviewed the tape, said it appears authentic and unmanipulated. Non-believers think Champ is just a modern sea creature. The swamp stalker is the large brown humanoid that lives near Arkansas. It's made major news and tracks have been found. It's very vicious and attacks humans. Many people have been terrified by the creature. Local legends of an ape-like creature date back to 1946, when it was called the Jonesville Monster based on the town where it was initially sighted. It was sighted again in the mid-1960s. The creature didn't make local headlines until 1971, when it was said to have attacked the home of Bobby and Elizabeth Ford. The swamp stalker is described as being a giant human-like ape creature with long arms, long dark hair, 3 toes in each foot and bright red eyes. It's said to walk with a shuffling motion, and run in a hunched or slouched position while swinging its arms. Original reports from the 1970s describe the creature as being 7 feet tall, up to 300 pounds and a chest about 3 feet wide. The creature's alleged footprints are said to measure 17 inches long and 7 inches wide. The swamp monster's purported footprints have been called into question. The prints, which have 3 toes, are completely unlike the 5-toed feet of all known primates. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.